Hey guys, this is a video that I have been looking forward to doing all year. This is going to be the flip through of my 2023 reading journal. I took a long time to put this reading journal together. I will post that video up in the cards or in the description, but I'm really excited to show you guys how going through this reading journal, using it all year, how it went. So this is just a sketchbook from the dollar store. It's very cheaply made, but it really worked well for what I needed it to. It did overfill, so I thinned it out at the end of the year because it got quite bulky and I didn't use all the pages, so I just cut out the end of the last bunch of pages that were unused, and that helped a lot with the stress on the binding. So I didn't really decorate it. I was going to, but I don't really care to at this point, so it just is what it is. Opening it up. So on the front cover I have a flap that kind of goes through all of my genres and categories by color code, and I have it designed this way so that when I open up the book I can work in my book and have this easy access, but it's also not a loose piece that I can lose. So it's been really handy and I like it. So in here, this is just a little pouch that I made, and this pouch holds all of the book covers that were potentials that I might have wanted to read that year or whatever. So I just randomly throughout the year would print up a page of book covers that I may want to read at some point. Likely do want to read because most of these, a lot of them I own. But anyway, this is just kind of easy access to have a good stock ready to go when I need to update the journal so that I don't have to continually print, you know, a new book cover for each time I want to update it. This string, I did find out, did start to weaken because I kept tying it in the same spot. So I've learned to spread out where I tie it just so that I can hopefully keep the string lasting longer. So this is my title page. So just a cover or a quote from George R.R. Martin: "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies." And throughout the book I have this very earthy, black, whatever this is, tan colored paper, and bookish. It's not really a strong theme, but this year I was doing a lot of collaging, so I wanted to add the collage element to the design. This page was for the Around the World in 80 Days readathon that Miriam hosted with myself and Anne. I did make this spread for the readathon, and I did continue it throughout the year for the countries that I didn't read from in the readathon. But as you can see, there were still some countries that I didn't get to through the year, and I didn't really update this page, so I don't think I'll be carrying it along to my next readathon. As it's not super important to me to read from countries all over the world. So yeah, this is just what it is. My classics page. I really liked how this turned out. I was super surprised that the amount of classics I read fit nicely into this white space. I was okay going out and beyond the white space if I needed to, but it turns out I didn't need to, so it worked out really good. And I really like this book cover approach to a reading journal because it's very visual. I'm a very visual person, and I like to see all of the classics I read this year quickly, without having to read titles. This is a series tracker. I did add a Dutch door thing into it because I needed more real estate to write more series, but I did find I did not update this. I never went to it to continue series. I just really did not use it very well, and I won't be continuing this spread in my new journal, but this is how this one looks. I did a bingo board and the A to Z challenge. The bingo board, like I didn't even fill out all of the prompts until like a month ago, so I clearly did not use the bingo board properly. And the A to Z, it just wasn't important to me. Like, I don't care if I never read a book with an X in it. It's not important to me. So I won't be carrying either of these pages into my next journal, but this is how they look. I still like the way they look. This was my Read Your Bookshelf Challenge from Chantel and the Buzzword Readathon by Kayla at Books and Lala. I did not like the way I designed this spread. I still don't really care for the look of the spread itself, but I did use these two challenges throughout the year, so I will be doing both in the coming journal. But this is how I tracked it, and the X's obviously mean that I did not read the appropriate book for that month. Then I have my new releases kind of page. I filled out books I was interested in at the beginning of the year, but I found I did not add to it. I did not ever check it. I only highlighted this for this video just to make it look like I maybe used it, but I did not. I did not use this. So I will not be carrying this spread over into the new journal either. Now this is my book log, the happiest part of this journal to me, because you can just see everything. I did all of these star ratings, my personal star ratings, and then I would outline the ones in gold that got 5 stars. And I just love the way that this looks. I'm super, super happy with how it turned out. And like I said, it's very visual and I really appreciate looking through it. I can kind of like remember that time of the year that I was reading those books, like what was going on in my life, and it's just kind of a cool visual way to see the year. So yeah, I really like this. Definitely going to carry this over to the new journal. The next page is my 23 books in 2023. I am doing something similar for the 2024, but it's not exactly the same. But anyway, these books were chosen randomly by my non-reading husband. He does not like reading, so these are super random choices. And I just kind of ticked off the ones that I did read, added the star ratings for the ones that I read or DNF'd. I forgot to tally up my numbers here, but if you want you can pause and figure it out. But yeah, this worked out, and I always had these 23 books on the back of my brain throughout the year. So next up is my monthly favorites. So throughout the year I would just add the favorite book of that month to this spread. I do like this spread, but I don't feel like it's a proper representation of my favorites, because like some months I had a couple of like 5 stars and then some months I didn't have any 5 stars. So like to pick the best of a month, like some of these aren't 5 stars. Do you know what I mean? So you'll see later on how I'm going to change that for the coming year. So I'll have a similar page to this, but it will be different. But I do like the way this one looks. This page was actually a spread that throughout the year I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this spread again, because it seemed like a lot of work. Just kind of keeping track of it, writing in all the little titles, even drawing in the books. That was a process in and of itself. But at the end of the year, I really found that this was a helpful spread that helped me tally up a lot of the numbers that I was personally interested in, to know like my physical books, audiobooks, my owned books, and my rereads. So that's why I think I will definitely carry this spread on to the new journal, because I did find it quite helpful. So even though, I mean, it seems more of a utilitarian type spread, it's not as aesthetic looking, it's very useful for me. So now to start with our monthly spreads. Every month looks the same. It is a list of all of the books I read down here, a list of all of the books I DNF going from bottom to top, because like if I started here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all of a sudden I have like 10 DNFs that month or something, I run out of space. So I go up for the DNFs. Here I color code the genres and categories reflected in my little guide here. So that's helpful for the end of the year when I want to track some numbers and see like what kind of genres I'm reading and stuff. I've got a local book club that I go to, so this is a spot for that. This is the Christian Booktuber book club spot, which you guys are welcome to join. It's very loosey-goosey. There's no formal book club. It's just we read the same book and you're welcome to read it with us. Super, super casual. Here we have our buddy reads and readathons that I take part in. I've got the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge here and the Buzzword Readathon here. Chantel does a giveaway every year, so as you can see, you do have to submit it on her website. So I lose track of when I've submitted things, and today is January 1st, so I realize I am not in the running to win because I forgot to submit all of my books that I read for her challenge. But anyway, this is kind of how this works. I do kind of tally up my monthly reads here. I have a cross for all of the Christian books here, so it's easy to kind of visualize, and then I add a little star for any 5-star books. So that is what the first page of every month looks like. Then I have a snippet summary page, which I had good intentions for. I planned to just write like a sentence or two to summarize what this book was about. So I wanted to go through a bunch of books and just 1 or 2 sentences, what's this book about? Didn't do that for any of the months. I still might go back at some point and do that. It is kind of a fun thing to do, but at this point I have not filled these pages out. Then I also have the monthly favorites in terms of like things to do or TV shows or activities or foods or whatever. Something that I was loving that month. So I kind of have a monthly snapshot of what that month looked like for me. And then every month has a favorite book spread. So the Managing God's Money by Randy Alcorn was my favorite book for January. So I will have collaged a bunch of images that make me think of the book, and then I will load it up with quotes from the book. Now, of course, this doesn't always work. You'll see in the future, but this is the ideal spread for a favorites book. Then we have February. Everything's the same. You're welcome to pause and take a little read if you want to read through some of these things. I have February favorites. And then my favorite books for this month was The Giver and Sonnet to a Dead Contessa. Now, as you can see, I don't have any quotes for Sonnet to a Dead Contessa because what I was finding was as I was reading books, I didn't really realize it was going to be a 5-star or my favorite book until a little bit into the book or even at the end of the book. And so I didn't take notes of quotes. And for a book like this, that's very popular, has a lot of notoriety on the internet, there was a plethora of quotes that I could find on the internet. But for a book like this, which is very, like it's Christian and it's from, I don't know when this was written, like the 80s maybe, 90s, probably the 90s. Yeah, so there's just not a lot of places I can find quotes for this book. In fact, there's no places I can find quotes for this book. So it is sitting blank. I will have to, I guess, reread the book to actually take note of quotes. But until that happens, I have a little collage just to represent the book. Then we have our March spread. Feel free to pause at any point. March favorites. And then my favorite books for March were The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Vivid. Now, I do have to find some quotes for Vivid because the same thing happened here where it was a brand new book, so there wasn't a lot of resources online for quotes. So now that the second book is out already, there might be some more resources online to fill it out. But if you read Vivid and took notes of quotes, let me know in the comments. My April spread. April favorites. And a snippet summary. And then the favorite book for April was Living Lies by Natalie Walters. Here it is, a collage of imagery and quotes. May. Some months I read quite a bit, and some months I didn't read a lot, and then some months I did more in the book community, and then some months I didn't do any. May favorites and the snippet summaries. And the May favorite book was I'll Start Again Monday by Lisa Turkhurst. There wasn't a ton of quotes that I could find that I wanted, but I might have to look again to see if the internet has some more quotes that I like. The June spread. I will say for the DNFs, I do try my best to just in a few words briefly say why I DNF'd it. It just helps me, I guess, remember. June favorites, blank snippet summaries. This was my favorite book for June, Dangerous Beauty. This imagery really translates the book to me. And a bunch of quotes. My July spread. And the July favorites. And my favorite book for July was Collage by J.J. Fisher. Now, I do have this little note here that says White Wolf. I couldn't find a lot of, or any, white wolves in my collaging materials, but when I do, I want to put a white wolf here to cover up this elk, because there's no elks in the story, but there is a white wolf in the story, so I want to put that here to really represent this story. And of course, quotes. My August spread. My August favorites. This was my favorite book of August, Heart of Red, Blood of Blue by Rebecca Belliston. So this main character is albino. I couldn't find any albino female people, women, in my collage material, so I just picked this pale woman with blonde hair. It's the closest I could get. She should be albino, but it's the closest I could get. And these represent her siblings. If you know the book, you know what I'm talking about. So then we have the September page. September favorites. This was a very low-key month. I was in a bit of a slump. I didn't read a ton, nor did I have a ton of favorites. So then my favorite book for September was The Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries. I do still want to add a few things that I haven't found in my collaging materials, like maybe an Englishman or a top hat or a policeman or a housemaid, just to round out the imagery, but I do have to also add some quotes. Hopefully the internet has some quotes for me from this book. Then we have October's spread. October's favorites. My favorite book for October was Merlin's Blade. I couldn't use this wolf for Collage because it's not a white wolf, so there is a wolf in Merlin's Blade, so it worked out perfectly here. And I do, like, this is another one of those Christian books from, I think, probably the early 2000s, and I didn't take note of quotes, so I don't know, I'm going to have to reread it, I guess, to add some quotes to this page. Then we have November's spread, November's favorites, and the blank snippet summaries. The favorite book for November was Goose Girl. So I do need to finish filling out quotes for Goose Girl, but this is the imagery I found that I really like for it. And in December, this is the bookmark I've been using, and I think I will just carry it on into my new journal because I really like this kind of bookmark. It's super simple, but I like it. December's spread, lots of reading. My favorites and the snippet summaries. This is my December favorites spread, which I have not done yet, but I've collected some materials for J.R. Tolkien's Letters from Father Christmas, which was my favorite book of December. So yeah, I just have to collage this, add some quotes, and that'll be good to go. Now this spread is my stats page. You guys, I am not a stats girly. I really don't care that much about stats. I liked doing the page, but as for the data, I'm like, I don't really care. So I guess you can pause if you want to read some of the finer details. I took note of authors. I read more female than male, which I knew, but I'm glad that the male count is somewhat significant. I read 8 C.S. Lewis, which made him my most read author, and then for Terry Blackstock, Agatha Christie, Emily Brightwell, Chuck Black, I read 7 books from each of them, which creates my top 5 for authors. These are my star rating stats. I'm stingy with my 5 stars, so I'm not surprised that I only have 6% of my total reading were 5 stars. June was my best reading month, just by vibes and like books I overall enjoyed. There was no number counting for this. It was just, I looked through the pages and I was like, I think overall June was the best. This was interesting. I read 98 Christian books out of my total 190, which is just about half, and I feel like maybe I should be reading more Christian content than secular content, so I might try to up that, but we'll see. I reread 13. 88 of the 190 were books I owned. I only read 6 new releases, which I kind of knew because I'm not really a new release reader. I read 153 audiobooks and 37 physical books, which I also knew because I am an audiobook reader. This is my genre tracker, so feel free to pause and take a look there. This was the most interesting thing, I feel like, because I really didn't read that many huge books. Yes, I spelled thick wrong on purpose. So I read Les Miserables, which was 1,463 pages, but other than that, I didn't read anything over 541 pages, which was, I mean, these are big books, okay, but they're not huge, so that was kind of interesting to me. I don't know if I'm going to make it a thing, make it a goal, I guess, to read thicker books this year. I don't really want to put that pressure on myself, but it is kind of something interesting. So there's the stats pages. I liked creating it more than I care about the numbers. This is what I was talking to you about as an alternative to my monthly favorite spread, if you remember this one. So this is going to be my new alternative to this. I like the design of this page more, but this is more important to me. I care more about my 5-star books than I do about each month's favorite book, because I already have those in here if I wanted to go through and see. So yeah, I don't know. I think just overall this is more important to me. So these are my 5-star books of the year. There you go. I don't know what else to say about it. And then this is a page that I added just for funsies, you guys. This page is nothing to do with reading, but I just thought it would be so fun to take note of some of my favorite movies that I watched this year and some of the favorite TV shows that I watched this year, because my husband and I are definite movie TV people. So I did note that these are aside from rewatches. So there are TV shows that I have rewatched because I love them, but they didn't make it into the slots, I guess. And the same for movies, because like I would have The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, you guys know this. But these are aside from rewatches. So Feel free to pause. There are two here that I guess I just missed printing the covers for, so I'll have to get those and put them in here, but they're Traders Canada and Miss Scarlet and the Duke, so those should be here, but feel free to pause and have a look at some of my favorite movies and TV shows from 2023. So that is it for my reading journal. I did thin it out, like I said, so I only have a few pages left in the back here. I always like to do a practice at the back of every sketchbook, even like all of my art sketchbooks, always testing out pens to see how much they bleed on the back side. And then this way, throughout the year, I can always refer to this so that I know which pens I can use and which pens I can't use. And then here I have a little pouch that I ended up developing because book covers that I would print that I would either not end up reading or DNFing, or for some other reason I didn't end up reading the whole thing, so I didn't need it for my reading journal. They go in here. Or maybe I accidentally made duplicates of them and I only needed one. So yeah, this is kind of a wasted pocket, but for whatever reason, if I need them in future journals, I have it there. So let me know what you guys think of my reading journal this year. It was so much fun. I kept track of it quite well. I would say overall, I kind of know which pages I use and which pages I didn't use. And yeah, I'm really excited to get to the new year. This is definitely the highlight of the book journal, in my opinion. I just love the way this looks. And it's very easy to just like, oh, what did I rate that one? 4 stars. Okay, what did I rate that one? 4 stars. What did I rate that one? 2 stars. So it's really cool and I just love it. So let me know if you guys were keeping track of your reading at all in any way, shape, or form, even if it was just writing in a notebook. That's great. That's how I started too. And then I just decided I wanted to make it a little more artsy and craftsy. Craftsy? I don't think that's a word. Crafty. There we go. So yeah, let me know about your reading journal. Let me know about your reading journey for 2023. And if you let me ask you this. Are you excited about any particular, no. Let me ask you this. What is the most, you can only get one, the most anticipated book that you're looking forward to getting to in 2024, whether that's a new release or a backlist book? But what is the one that you're really, really, really looking forward to and you think will be 5-star and you think it will be just the bomb? So let me know about that in the comments below. And yeah, let's just chat books, chat reading journals. And I hope you have a lovely day and a happy new year. Bye!